So I'm kind of surprised that I'm actually going to do this presentation. I'm happy that Meryl showed up. We've been working, we met fortuitously here last year on the last day of the conference with Dan. And I was talking to her about this project that I was doing, which at the time I called Space for Grace, which is a sanctuary to create harmonic resonance in people using sacred geometry. And so Meryl got like, oh, wow, that's interesting. And she's an expert in Revit and doing the project. So I've been thinking about this for years. And she said, well, I can help you actually make it into a model, into a physical digital model. So we've come a long way. We've been collaborating for about a year. And so the thing that we're working on, I've decided to call it SPARKS, which stands for Space Alchemy Remember Chamber System, series of sanctuaries. So you might be hearing some of the words. What gave me confidence is like I listened to everybody talk and I said, wow, we're like on the same planet. Like half the words you're going to see that I wrote here, like most of you have spoken about quite a bit. And Steve, to your point, the context is that it's fair to say that the world is in a troubled state right now. It's an understatement. But the difference is that much of this arises from the way we humans have designed our societies over centuries through system sanctuaries and choices. The good news as an architect is that we can redesign it. If this is how we designed it, we can design it differently. So through imagination and the upper cortex, which I believe we're the only animals that have that, we can envision and co-create a new paradigm for human society, a new world, which is kind of what I think you've been speaking about. So the vision is that we imagine a world where people live in harmony with each other, with nature, and with all of life. In this world, people are free to express their authentic self. Another word somebody used a lot, Leon, I think, and live guided by three principles: collaboration and abundance and love. Instead of the world we're in now, which is competition, scarcity, and fear. And it's a change that we can make. We're not locked in. This is what we decided. And life is rooted and shared in a shared purpose and understanding that humanity is one great family. This is one thing I want to talk to you, Steve, about is we're not just tribes. We're a big tribe called humanity. So we have to think of it, I think of it like that. And when we think of ourselves as one family and one tribe, it becomes easier to break down barriers. So everyone acts from a higher state of awareness where individual sovereignty and natural morality replace external control, governments, and enforcement, police. Conflicts are because we're naturally here. We behave with compassion and with justice amongst ourselves. We can expand that to all of society. So that's the basic principle. The mission is to be active contributors to the current planetary awakening. And so this is what I'm seeing here. We're just one of many pieces of the puzzle to bring light. And by the way, I didn't put up here, the subtitle is Creating Sparks of Light and Coherence. So it's holistic, focused on the heart, but through all of our being as well. So the purpose is carrying coherence and sparks of light into our daily lives and our community. So how does the system work? Spark works through a blend of resonance, geometry, and natural alignment. Transformation happens not through effort, but through immersion in a carefully designed harmonic field. Harmonic resonance, proportions based on fractal and sacred geometry, phi ratio, spiral, flower of life, ubiquitous symbol everywhere, vector equilibrium, Merkaba hexa, I will talk about that in a minute. It's my version of the Merkaba. Create resonance with natural patterns of the human body, gently bringing the body into coherence with the Earth's basic frequencies and Schumann resonance. Chakra awakening and attunement is created in individual vector equilibrium pods. So we have these spaces that you go into which align and heal each chakra individually, you'll see. And then together, when they're all together, we go into a central space, which is called the Merkaba hexa. So this is intended to strengthen each energy center, eliminate blockages, and get it ready to function in its highest efficiency. This is achieved with light and sound frequencies, spin direction, energy level, etc., are tuned within each chakra. The phenomenon of sympathetic entrainment will induce the profound coherence in the body and in the space. So sympathetic entrainment is like when you hit two tuning forks, you hit one, and the other one starts to resonate in complete frequency with that, and it entrains it. They say that's how Jesus used to heal. His vibrations were so high that it pulled the higher vibrations out of the people that were around him. So the Merkaba hexa is a unique double hexagonal pyramid geometry, which we'll show you in a minute, with a space to be inside. It generates sympathetic entrainment of its harmonizing energy. This is designed to integrate the masculine and feminine energies in the heart chakra. The heart is important. This forms also stabilizes and amplifies life force energy. So we're talking about, well, it's the next one, I'll get to that. And it uses the double helix of the Pingala, the Ida, around the Shushumna of the caduceus coil, which is physically built, which you'll see. This supports the vertical integration of consciousness and restores flow through the whole system. Masculine and feminine integration, the specific Elphi spirals set up a recursive pump of merging spirals and thus create toruses, focused and imploding at the heart chakra, horizontally out into a horizontal wave pattern in the grid of life, creating balanced merger between masculine, yang, feminine, earth energies. This harmonization reduces the polarity and awakens wholeness, hopefully conscious awakening to experience source creator of unity. So it's about bringing all these major forces together and having them integrate in the heart chakra. But it's not enough just to say it. The principle is that we have to generate it through the geometry. So I'm going to show you a few pictures in the video in a minute. The fractal heart activation, recursive fractal spiral converge at the heart chakra, generating toroidal energy fields. This expands awareness and opens experience of interconnectedness with other people and the universal pattern of creation, as above, so below. So here's the key thing that I'd like to emphasize, is that there's a living coherence field. Together, these elements create a phase conjugate coherence field that amplifies. Now, these are words from Dan, obviously. Visitors do not need to do anything, just simply be present with intention, and it activates the transformation. This is what distinguishes us from traditional New Age spas and health centers. I have nothing against that. But when you go somewhere, you generally have to have a massage, you have to sing, you have to do this, you have to take on different activities.
It's all mechanical, in other words.
It's mechanical and it's intellectual, and you have to talk yourself into it. So I'm going to skip over the goals because that's goals for my sanctuary. But maybe just quickly. So we're going to create a prototype, launch the first sanctuary as a proof of concept, design for scale, develop modular fractal-based modules adaptable to different climate scales and communities. So the base one is about 120 feet. It's 60 feet above ground and 60 feet into ground. But because everything is fractal, we can create it at smaller scales. It could even become like a backyard version. Expand access around the world, opening welcome to all people of all generations, used for all races, ages, and creeds. I think you mentioned that. To offer a transformative space, provide an environment of calm, beauty, and coherence where visitors can rest and heal and reconnect. We validate the transformation with tools like biofeedback coherence. It was used to say BioCoherence here. Oops. So we can validate the experiences. We build resonance, linking sanctuaries in the planetary coherence grid. So it's going to be important to place them in different places around the world to inspire cultural shift and contribute to humanity's evolution towards unity, sovereignty, and collaboration. So that's the verbal part.
Awesome.
What I'd like to do is I'd like to show you an aerial view. This is the 3D views, right? Hopefully. Oops, no, which is the one with the site? Site views.
Yeah, this is 3D view site. Which means you downloaded it.
I didn't download it here.
No. Well, shall I open my laptop? Otherwise, you can just have section one show it really.
I'm going to show you a section. Okay. So this is to see in 3 dimensions. So you're going to see, we're going to do a walkthrough. We're going to fly through this space, thanks to Meryl's great skill. So here you have an idea of, there's an upper pyramid. It's a hexagonal pyramid and a lower pyramid. And the thing is that we're balancing masculine energy coming through the Shushumna, spiraling through the stairs down and connecting at the heart center. This is at the heart center. And it's connecting down into Mother Earth. This will extend into Mother Earth, where we will connect the two. So the energy will be spiraling up from the ground.
Yeah,
it's what?
Angle. Like you can see how the column goes.
And it's a lot brighter on my computer.
That's like flat Earth.
So so some of the principles behind it I will show you in a minute, but I think maybe it's time. We're gonna take a little trip to see what it feels like, and then I'm gonna come back and dissect it a little bit and explain how it works. So if you're ready, wait, let me shut this down. Let's see if this works. Cross your fingers, guys. Okay, here we go. So we're coming in underground. You're missing this, Dan. Dan, you're missing the entry. So we're coming in underground. We have the flower of life.
Frédéric, would you mind go back to the start? If you don't mind. Sorry.
Okay.
It's only 20 seconds. Thanks.
All right, so this is the view when you come up to it. It's actually a 6-sided pyramid. And the reason we're going underground is it's a transition from bright light to compression, and it's going to open up again inside. This is kind of a traditional way of going into temples, from light to dark to light. And this is also a piece of the Vesica Pisces. It's a geometric shape. I'm going to run it through, and then we'll come back and talk about the different aspects of it. Okay, so here we go again.
That's what I thought as well. Yeah. It was like the light to dark, light to You can't unsee it now.
Okay. Can you see it up there?
Yeah. Yeah, I just can't.
So you come into the reception area, which is a golden mean ratio.
Is this at the heart level? Do you enter?
No, you enter at the foot level, at the lower level. You'll see where the heart level is. And then you go into little rooms like this, where people are sitting with the BioCoherence app. You do a scan, you take the measurements, you take a reading, and then you go into, my God, the colors are really not as good as on the screen. Turn it around.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
Okay, so now you look down at the foot chakra. When it's done, there's going to be actually water with fire. This is a flower of life grid pattern which is spreading out over the entire territory.
What's the flower of life made from?
It's engraved into the concrete on the floor, but you'll see here it's a glass floor. It's a metal. We haven't figured out exactly. It's a probably copper structural frame with glass inserts, so you can see through up and down. So it's on 3 levels at 5 proportion. This is the main level. These are the pods, the chakra pods. So there are 12 of them around us. This is the Merkaba hexa. You go in, and once you've tuned up your chakras, you go into here, and this is where you connect with the Shushuma, which takes you directly into a double spiral spin in your heart of the energy.
That's so cool.
Nice.
And then here's an example. You go into the chakra pod, which this happens to be. You see the sky. You can sit down or lie down in here. We haven't modeled that. And then once you've done all the chakra pods, you can go upstairs, from where you can have a view of the whole area. See, these guys are smiling, they're happy. The structure is actually a space frame, tetrahedron, like Bucky Fuller's geodesic dome. So here you'll see a little bit better from outside. So, and the skylight brings light into the whole space. And I'm going to do a little bit of a pause when we come down, so you get a. So now you have a better view of the. Why is this not stopping? So the whole thing is on top of a Sri Yantra. This is actually a water pool. So when you're in the reception area, you'll be receiving light filtered through water. Even though you're underground, it's fully lit. And the walls are made of plants. So even though you're underground, it's a living space. And here you see it's a hexagonal pyramid with 12 chakra pods. Why 12? We'll talk about that another time. We're not all agreement on which the 12 are.
Go with the Mayan, yeah.
But 12 is everywhere, right? The 12 astrological signs, 12 hours twice in a day, 12 disciples, so forth. So this gives you a bit of an overview. So now get ready for a bit of a psychedelic ride here. We're going to fly through this thing, and without drugs, hopefully get a little bit high. She did the pacing on this. It's nice and slow, but then it's like, I don't know, we suddenly get a little faster. Woo! These are all layers of flower of life, which is created in 3 dimensions. So now we come to the exit, and you come back into one of these little rooms, and Mederick will be there with Christine and analyzing, doing another scan.
Next week?
So.
Well, he'll have his Mederick songs playing.
And you can wait here, or there's a little dining area. You can have a snack, and then you exit in the transition. As you came in, you transition out.
temple is. And
It's
the hot spring.
Yeah, okay. So I can't wait to have you guys come and visit.
That's
You're
quite the,
the architect of it.
Yes.
that's
Oh
quite
my
the
goodness.
program.
So I just wanted to show you a couple of other things, though, because that's the experience, but it's not just words. There's hopefully some substance behind it. And I wanted to start with showing this image, which you'll see lots of. This is the recursive phi implosion cycle. So if you draw a line like this, it creates a 60-degree triangle pyramid. That's why it's a hexagonal. I'm not going to go through all the details of what is what, because that's another conference. But I would like to show you another image, which is the torus vortex. So this is the energetic field that we hope to be creating, that as masculine divine energy spirals down, at the same time feminine energy spirals up, and they meet in the heart and explode sideways and integrate. And that is going to be a physical experience. So this is the intention of the so-called spiral vortex behind it. And then there was another image, reality shaping. This is something that I found also, that spirit comes in from the top and matter comes in from the bottom, and they synthesize and switch polarities in the middle. So that's why the Merkaba Hexa is going to be the place where all this happens. And so I have a little animation here which could give you a better idea of what the Merkaba Hexa will be. So this is the core. It's like a Merkaba, but it's made of hexagons, not tetrahedra. So it's going to be designed so you can go in it, and the Shushumna will literally touch your spine. So possibly people might be having some Kundalini experiences in there. We're going to send the younger people in first to test it and see what happens. Or maybe just put the old guys in, because it doesn't matter anymore.
Is that a fireman's pole or a stripper pole?
Whatever you want to use it as, okay? So this is sort of my version of a geometric power spot, which I'm hoping to get Dan Winter to validate if it does work. I haven't actually seen it anywhere else. But there's another version which Meryl and I have been talking about, is that the upper hexagonal pyramid could be offset from the lower one by a half turn to create more spin.
Well, if they're all spinning, yeah.
Okay?
Calibrated.
Yeah, it has to be calibrated.
If you mobilize that top, that would be cool. 'Cause then
Right.
take different calibrations at different times of the year, maybe, or different situations.
So what I wanted to also show you is that there is actually some very specific geometry that we want to use. So I think somebody else talked about the resonance in each chord. So each pod has different characteristics. For example, if we go into chakra 9, which is the crown chakra, Sahasrara, it's purple, it resonates at 936 hertz. And every one of them, I'm sorry?
On the solfeggio scale.
Yes, exactly. So they each have a specific color, they each have a specific frequency, and they each have a specific meaning, which pretty much line up with most of the way people think about them. the difference is the transpersonal ones, the Akashic memory, the portal to source and union with all, those are actually outside the body. And then the earth chakra is 6 inches below the body. So the design was created so that we connect all those together physically through the Sushumna and through the double helix pyramid. And
upper ones would be upstairs, as far as having a Vitruvian.
yes, that's right. That's right. You would more access them from above. Which one is the one with the Taurus? Here, this is the one.
Check out the greenhouse we built in Madison.
So here you see the ideal version of the recursive pulsating that we're hoping to create with this. So the Taurus, this is actually a fractal in and out at 60 degrees, and at each interconnection a torus is created, which will generate the pump going into the earth and down from the sky, up from the earth and down from the sky. And I think, how does Dan call it, the sacral pump?
Yeah.
So we're hoping to activate that so that when you're sitting in it, you don't need to be plugged into anything. So that's the other aspect of this that I like. It's the geometry creates the energy. We don't need to have power. We don't need to have frequencies.
Channels the energy.
Yeah.
The geometry channels.
Batteries that come in.
The battery is the ether,
People. Well, it's the people.
I guess.
Yeah, people are batteries.
And the ether.
But because you have the geometry, right, when a person walks into it, it activates it.
Right. Well, we're hoping that the space will entrain the higher frequency, because the people coming in may have just had food poisoning. We don't know, right?
But their essence is pure.
That's right.
So what else they're carrying in, the geometry is going to bring that pureness to drop off whatever is going to cleanse them.
Right.
Battery. But it's reminding them that of their perfection and their divine.
That's the whole idea, is to remind them. And so I don't know if there was one other.
That's a great design. I mean, it works. I would just ask Dan if the hex was the secret room, because yesterday he was talking the pent room.
I asked him that. I asked him that when he was leaving, and he said, no, pent just means, it just means it's fixed. It's going to stay fixed. So I'd like to just finish with this. So in summary, sorry?
Yeah, that's what you said to me, that the pent is the dynamic and the hex is the stabilizing.
Yeah, that's right. The pent is more dynamic. So let me just read this last little piece and then we'll. So the summary of intent is for sanctuaries. Hey, Dan, you want to do me a favor? Can you read this out loud?
Summary. Statement of intent. Sparks, sanctuaries. This harmonic sanctuary is conceived as a living architecture of coherence. Its geometry arises from sacred proportion and Merkah-hexa form, expressing the meeting, merging, and balancing of celestial and terrestrial order. The sanctuary's purpose is experiential, to invite a state of presence where perception, breath, and awareness naturally align. Visitors are invited to engage the space as they would a symphony or a poem, sensing rather than analyzing, receiving rather than striving.
So this is, I'm just going to interrupt for 1 second, because I had this long conversation with myself and Meryl and others about trying to claim anything. To say, and this is, I think, an issue with you is you can't claim that you're going to become enlightened or that all your chakras are going to be aligned. So we use the same vocabulary to write a scientific thesis or a book on prose, or to write a poem. So I think that the way to think about this is more like a poetic experience, like a symphony. When you go there, you don't become intellectual. You just sense, you feel the space, you receive rather than trying to achieve something. So I think that's a key distinction, and I'd like to afterwards, if you have comments, to see if you agree with that. So let's just finish this, if you don't mind.
We let the architecture speak to your own inner rhythm, and let the stillness at its center remind you of your own. Biocoherence measurements and similar tools may be employed for design research, offering feedback about the physiological calm or focus. These observations serve artistic refinement, not scientific proof or therapeutic claim. The sanctuary's role is not to heal, but to provide a resonant field in which the body's own intelligence can reorganize towards balance. In essence, the harmonic sanctuary stands as both architecture and meditation, a vessel for the geometry of grace, for people of all ages, races, and creeds. May this body become a temple of knowing. May this breath carry the harmonic resonance that phase locks each individual and the family of man with the cosmos or cosmic pattern of creation.
Namaste.
A vessel.
Thank you. So if you have any questions,
A vessel for the geometry of grace is just beautiful.
I'm sorry?
A vessel for the geometry
Of grace.
It's very good.
I would-
Would you go to Space for Grace or Sparks as a name?
Space
Well,
for grace.
I would, that was a beautiful poetic, but I unfortunately read it technically. But, it's not that the body just needs to remember, because the body is whole. We have only come down into a space distortion. Why? Because if you knew all the answers, why play the game? So we're here to learn. It's a school. You don't go to school knowing all the answers. You go to school to learn the answers, right? So the body already knows. because
That's why it's a remember chamber.
It's remembering.
Yeah.
You create space for remembrance.
We had the same discussion actually, because I also more used to remembering. It's like you recall, it's kind of old knowledge, but Frédéric has a bit of a different take about the definition of
I mean,
remember.
it's saying a similar thing, right? And really, this is creating space for the body to feel that, and through that feeling, we hope, enlarging the heart, because maybe not everybody will do that. You're not claiming that, but because once you start, that sparks towards remembrance.
Right.
It's the spark, it starts in the heart.
And there's a spark. Now, just because it was once, I don't know, it's 4 minutes. If anybody wants to see it again, I'm just going to run it one more time because it's kind of a...
Well, it depends. It depends if you want me to
Oh.
talk or not.
Yeah.
We want you to talk. While you set up, this will run.
You have the hugest pep talk
Yeah.
ever.
No pressure, no pressure. We're just gonna go to the bathroom.
Yeah, this is, I was at the Mayan temple on solstice
Yeah?
in Mexico that was situated with the solstice equinox.
This is over.
And basically,
Looks like you're structured.
well, yeah, you swim
Your
out
bridge.
from the chamber